let's talk about self-tapes. Casting directors can be very, very picky about self-tapes because they don't have other things to judge you by. Believe me, judgment is their life. Okay? But people don't like to be judgmental. But when you're a casting director or an agent trying to find people to work with, you have so many people that want the job. What their job really is to figure out who they don't want, right? They got to eliminate you and find a reason to eliminate you. And the hard part is that sometimes it's about really dumb things. So you have to make sure you don't do those dumb things. I've heard casting directors talk about the fact that, people have backdrops and they really do like backdrops. They don't want to see your refrigerator or your windows or anything like that. They want to see a backdrop. So that's something that if you don't have it, you should probably get it. If you just have a white wall, you might want to think about how you can soften up your lighting. When it's really harsh, it just doesn't make you look attractive. Okay. And for the most part, you need to look attractive. Now, angle is very important. You want to have your eye level with camera, even though like today in this particular audition for commercials, it's a talking head commercial. So therefore you're looking into camera, okay, directly into camera. And that's the person that you're talking to, straight into them. So you want to have your eye level with the camera. Now, if you're using a backdrop, which is a good idea, because, especially if you have a white wall, sometimes that's a little stark to have behind you. It's better to have some kind of a soft gray or a soft color that complements your complexion. So you want to look beautiful. Okay, as beautiful as you can. You want them to be able to see into your eyes. I've heard them say they won't even look at an audition with wrinkles. What, they couldn't iron? They couldn't iron the backdrop? Okay, forget it. I'm not watching it. So just know that they have power, these people, and they don't have to look at your audition. So you've got to do something to catch their eye. You have to be the best so that they actually pay attention to you, because they have to look at so many of them. How close should you be? It really depends on what you're auditioning for. What you want to do, if it's something like this, like for a commercial, you want it chest height, and you want your head to be up close to the top of the screen. You don't want to be down here. You want your nose to be pretty much center of the screen, and have the bottom of the screen be just chest level, not neck level, chest level. All right. If you're auditioning for a theater piece, and it's going to be on theater, you should be standing, and it should be more like waist, but your head's still here, and you can move around a little bit more. Just because you're close doesn't mean you can't move at all. You don't want to feel frozen in your screen. You want to be able to talk as though you're sitting and talking to a friend, if that's the kind of commercial that it is. You will be slating. And if you have somebody to help you do a body shot, what normally you do after a slate is they ask for a full body shot, which requires you to have somebody to go from head down to your feet, up to your head again. If you don't have anybody and you can't do it, if you get a good slate and a good pan, you can actually use it for multiple auditions. Most of them ask for the slate separate.
Yeah.
And then the actual audition.
I have a quick question about the slate, like the full body slate. Does it have to be against like a blank background, or can it be like an unbusy, I guess, like an unbusy background? Like
Something
don't
that's not distracting. They really, really hate anything distracting. In front of a door is okay, a blank
Okay.
wall.
Okay. Okay.
But then get something really nice and plain for your actual audition.
For the ones that aren't requiring a full body pan, I've seen some people do like a photo of themselves and then just write their name, everything, like a quick template that they put at the beginning as a slate, or they want to see your personality actually slating?
I think they more want that personality thing, because they usually ask you to tell them your name and your age, and that is an opportunity to talk with them.
Right. Okay.
You don't want them just to see you as a photograph. You want them to see you as a real life person that they want to hire. So we'll talk about that when we get to the whole slating thing. What Chase just asked me is a good question. If they don't ask for a slate, should you give one? Okay, so if they don't ask for a slate, you still need something to mark your audition, because otherwise they're going to go, who was this again? Right? And it may come from your email, and be able to look at your email, but it's much easier for them to just be able to write down who you are from watching your audition. So usually they do want to know your name and your agency. Now, if they ask for other things, you have to give it to them. If they don't ask for it, don't give it to them. Don't tell them your age, because that should be whatever they want you to be. And if they see you as 25 and they want a 25-year-old, we're not going to tell them that you're 38, right? They're going to have to call your agent. So put your agency, put your name, put your agency, and you can use a title card if you want, if that's easy for you to do, if you know how to do that. Do you all know how to make a title card and edit it into your audition? You can use iMovie, whatever. I do everything that I make for you guys on my phone, and I make you videos. I make all these things on my phone. I've written all 60 lessons on my iPhone. So you could do everything you need on that. Just take a little tutorial about iMovie. I won't take up this whole class trying to tell you how. It's good for you to have some kind of editing software that you are familiar with, that you can easily and quickly edit off you turning on the camera and turning off the camera. You don't want them to see that. You want it to all look very professional. And even if you tape your audition and the color wise, it doesn't look so great, or the lighting doesn't look so great, you can go into your photos and edit it, right? And add a little bit more color, add a little bit more light, whatever it is, just so that it looks really good. And you should probably put your name and your agent in the beginning and at the end. Okay. But if they ask you for a slate, you maybe keep the title card at the end, and at the beginning, you have to say whatever it is. Now, for me, you're not probably going to get this from any other teacher, but I want to make your slate as good at acting as your performance, because sometimes all they watch is your slate, and then they'll fast forward through to, or just say, nah, I don't want him. So when you do your slate, you want to look like a person who's a professional actor, who's easy to work with, somebody who's warm and interesting. And so I always say that you should make your introduction to your name as long as possible, because some people just say, Winnie Hiller, Jackie Lewis Talent Agency, 5'6", if they ask for it. And that's boring, isn't it? They're going to think I don't know what to do in front of a camera. So you want to look into the camera for your slate, and you want to look as though you're meeting somebody at the front door of your house and you're giving a party. And you say, hi, my name's Winnie Hiller. So what you want to do is say to them, this is what you're actually saying to them. hi, casting director out there, I'm the guy you're looking for. So I can't wait to perform for you. That's the subtext of what you're saying in your slate.
Okay.
You want them to fall in love with you. So you've got to be not too pushy. Do we fall in love with pushy people?
No.
Do we fall in love with sarcastic, stupid people? No. We fall in love with warm, direct, honest people, right?
Hi, my name is Sola Lawal. I'm with the Winnie Hiller Talent Agency, and I'm 5 feet, 8 inches tall.
What was that joke? Two ex-lovers walking to a bar. One person says to the other, "We've got to stop meeting like this."
A couple of things I'd like to improve on with that. When you did your slate, it was really great, but the top of your head was cut off. And that kind of like, I just wanted to go, okay, here, right? so that it's there. Now, when you were doing the actual performance, you were kind of on this side of the screen and pointed this way. And, you know, I never realized this, but I just did now when I was watching you, is that short sleeves bothered me because here's why. Our eyes tend to go to flesh tones, you know? So we look at the face, but then you had an arm right here in the center of the screen that my eyes kept going to. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah. It's much better when you had long sleeves on, or I think it's okay if you have sleeveless, it's different, but this one patch of skin. Okay. So that's just something to bear in mind of where does the eye go when you look at them. So you want your face to be kind of center screen. You don't want to really be too off to the side like that, right? Because if you're centered, you see how that's just more direct.
Right.
And, you know, I'm not looking in camera right now, so that's really enough. You don't want to be looking off camera like this, because then you only get like, how much do you see of me? You want to see both eyes look into the camera when you're slating, and then, you know, look at your partner when you're acting. And it should be like they could look into your eyes and see what's going on in there, right? Any questions, Sola? Because I think it was really good. I think it's just a matter of, it's interpreting the script. And that just takes experience, and it's also subjective. But there's a million ways you can do it. There's not one right way. One casting director may be looking for something different than what I am. That's not the point. But I'm trying to get you to think logically. We want them to at least call you back, you know, so that they can get what they want if it's not what they want. And the most important thing, as I just said, is to get them to fall in love with you, which, you know, you have that kind of in the bag already, just because you have such a presence on camera.
My name is Chase Lyons from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm with the Winnie Hiller Talent Agency. What's that joke? Two ex-lovers walk into a bar. One says to the other,
"We got to stop meeting like this."
Is that the punchline?
So let's talk about your camera angles. That was the main thing when I first just took a little glimpse of it. On your slate, there was no warmth and fun and bringing them into you and you know, all that subtext that I've been talking about with everybody else. So, you know, we need to work on that, right? Chase, of getting that sort of welcome, and here I am, the guy you're looking for, and you're going to really enjoy this because I'm so happy to meet you. And, you know, all that feeling. Okay.
Yeah.
It needs to feel relaxed and professional and real, like a real person talking, rather than I am this and I am that, and then you're going to see my performance, because that's not an actor. You have to portray yourself. You have to portray yourself, and that's not who you are, is it?
No.
That wasn't you. Not you at all. Now, let's talk about the angle of your performance. We lost one of your eyes almost right off the bat, right? And I think it's better to do your audition in portrait, not tall, okay? It showed too much of you, because where my eyes were landing were right at your pecs, okay? And that's like all I could look at. I'm like, okay. And you've got a great physique. That's wonderful. And you should show that, on your up and down slate. Get your face in to say hi, and then, go up and down. And then you've got to get this thing right here so we can look right into your eyes.
Yeah. Any
questions about that?
Should I wear long sleeves or something too? Is that?
Well, I didn't see skin. I didn't see skin, but there was a lot of nipple action that we don't really want to distract us, right?
Sure.
And for the most part, what you want to do is, like a lot of people say this in classes, that you got to shoot right above the nipple line, okay? So that we don't see any of that in case it comes up, okay? So you want them to be drawn to your face.
I definitely learned a little bit more about, layering your performances, and nothing can ever be, one note. There has to be layers, and that goes with your character's thoughts. You just have to be a little bit more cognizant of that. No one ever is in a conversation and just has one thought the entire way through. So just to remember to tap into all of those different emotions as they come.
Right. And, you should be looking, when you're doing your preparation, looking for things that can give you variety and levels, and think, okay, now how could my character be changing when I go and correct everybody's written work, and I have to go, and they've got all the show him this, show him that, people, that's what they do on tactics. And I'm like, no, you can't just be showing. You got to think of different things that you're doing to the person, that you need to react different ways. You need to use words in different ways so that you can be different things. Because if you just do a one-note performance, that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for something interesting, compelling, kind of make me look at it a different way, right? But it's got to make sense. Some people say, I just want to really take this a different way. And then they do something that's totally doesn't make any logical, and that's not what you want to do. You want to really research your character enough to see the different things they could be feeling. And, that question, what's good and what's bad? What's good about seeing your ex-lover and they're saying they want to get back with you? What's good about that? What's hard about it, right? So you've got to do both of them. You got to have both the good and the bad, and every single well-written piece is going to have both. So when you're looking for audition material, if you have to choose it yourself, you want to make sure there's both, right? You don't want a one-note thing where you're just saying, you son of a bitch, you, and you're just like telling somebody off, right? Good. Anything else anybody is going to take away from that?
So sorry, I think what Sola said, and in addition to that, it's just like the clues in the script. So for example, you're like, they're at a bar. I'm like, oh yeah, like at a bar, you wouldn't be like crying and like, I guess clues like that help set the scene, and coming up with like the scene before is so important, because that's going to like what's going to actually happen is like the conversation is like directly building off of what happened before. And so just being aware of like what that conversation is like, where you are like physically as you're having that conversation is also so important to establish before the scene starts.
Yes, there's a reason why these are the questions that you ask. The first one is, who am I? And
Yeah.
basically all the other questions help you decide who you are, which you're going to be, right? So then you've got, who am I talking to? An ex-lover. Now, who am I with an ex-lover, right? What do I want when I'm with an ex-lover? What does it feel like? What's the first thing that I think of? How does my hair look? What is the first thing you think you want them to think? What do you want them to think about you? Right?
Right.
And then you go to, where am I? Now, you're a different person in every room you sit in your own home. So you're certainly going to be a different person when you're at a bar than if you were, in an alley. Okay. You're different. So it tells you where am I, tells you who you're going to be. Because you act a certain way at a bar and you act a certain way at home, right? You act a different way in your bedroom than you do in your kitchen. So those questions are all about figuring out what you're going to do with the script, right? You can't ignore any of them. It's not just saying, okay, I'm in a bar. No, but you got to think about, how does that affect it?
I feel like a lot of this was trusting the thoughts were enough. So because I feel like the most impactful moments, like out of everyone today, was when it felt like the most real. And it was most real when we were just not trying to force it and not trying to act emotional because we were saying something emotional. We were just trusting the thoughts. And, that just makes it more authentic. And I feel like that's the key to putting on a good performance, not actually trying to put on a good performance.
No acting.
So
No acting, please. There's a really famous acting book and it's terrible, but the title is great. No acting, please. It's an acting book, right?
That's good. That's a
You
good
don't
title.
want to see, don't let them see you acting. So if you're really trying to act, I always call it acting up a storm. And I'm going to play with somebody and I go, we should have checked the weather report. They are acting up a storm. And I say it on TV shows too. I'm like, oh boy, somebody's acting up a storm. And in that monologue that I love so much that Shakespeare wrote about acting, he goes, in the torrent, tempest, and as I may say, whirlwind of your passion, you've got to acquire and beget a temperance that may give it smoothness. So don't be acting up a storm with all your passion and all that kind of stuff. Just be real.
Is Shakespeare your biggest role model, Winnie?
I love him. I love the way he says things. But that particular monologue is really says so much about what acting ought to be. And what's funny is that so many people act Shakespeare the exact opposite way that he says he wants it acted. Do not saw the air so much with your hands thus, but use all gently. He says, so anything so overdone or come tardy off, so you can't overdo it or underdo it, is from the purpose of playing. Playing is acting. It's just against the whole purpose of acting, which was from the first till now, was and is to hold a mirror up to nature. Right? You just got to be real all the time, real. So that's what you're digging into. That's what you're trying to find out, is how is my character going to be real? A real living, breathing human being in this particular circumstance, right?